Check this guy out. Today, talking reptile species spotlight, the alligator snapping turtle. So the alligator snapper is often considered a southern turtle, but it does have a really interesting range. In the south, it is found on the Georgia-Florida border in the panhandle of Florida, throughout the Gulf states into parts of eastern Texas. But along the Mississippi River, the alligator snapping turtle range extends all the way up into the southern part of Illinois. So while we don't have them here in New York, they do live in some climates that could be considered similar. Now, the alligator snapper is a lot different from our common snappers here in New York. One of the biggest differences you're going to notice is the size of their head. In fact, down south, they're often referred to as loggerheads. Their head is so big, it cannot be retracted all the way under its shell. This is as far back as this turtle can pull his head under. And because of that, their striking is a lot more lazy than our common snappers, which is why I can put my hand in the front and get away with even pinching him on the nose to get him to open his mouth. Don't try that with a common snapper. Our common snappers have smaller heads, longer necks, and they strike like snakes. But that slower striking of an alligator snapper is going to also make it a little bit more difficult when trying to catch food. I mean, he's not the fastest turtle in the swamp. So alligator snappers are not stalking predators. They're what we call ambush predators. And what that means is he uses his body coloration and structure as camouflage, and he blends right in with the snags of the bayous of the rivers and southern swamps and where they live. And even the inside of his mouth is got a camouflage color, because he'll sit with his mouth wide open, just waiting for food to come to him. Sounds kind of crazy, but if his camouflage is working, fish have no idea what this is. And to help, take a look at that tongue. He's got a tongue that's pink in color, and if he wiggles it just right, he can make it look like a worm. It's a turtle with a built-in fishing lure. Amazing adaptation for his way of life. These animals, however, are really long-lived. This is an animal that can live 80 to 100 years. Nobody's really sure. There's a lot of reports that put them at the time of the Civil War, but I believe some of that is going to be largely based on myth. And other myth is that alligator snappers grow an inch a year, and that's simply not true. You can't tell an age of the alligator snapper by its shell length. This is like any other cold-blooded animal, and like any animal, their growth potential is greater when they're younger. You keep them warm and give them food, and they can grow quickly. And then as they get older, then their growth is going to slow down. But how big is that growth? Alligator snappers are the heaviest freshwater turtles in the world. This is just a youngster, somewhere around 20 pounds and 10 years old, but this animal is going to grow to weigh more than I do someday. Some of the biggest male alligator snappers have weighed over 200 pounds when put on a scale. Amazing prehistoric looking animals, and an animal that unfortunately is feared and misunderstood because of its size and its name, the snapping turtle. But think about it. When was the last time you heard of the snapping turtle attack on the news? They're just really very shy, reclusive animals, and I promise you, you stay out of their face, they'll stay out of yours. When they're in the water, camouflage and moving away from us is what snappers want to do. That snappy attitude is something we only see when they're out of the water because they're nervous, scared, out of their element. And one of the most important reasons for that is when we look at their belly shell, the plastron, it's small, it's reduced, there's a lot of flesh exposed, it's not protected, and well, he's not ticklish, he's not laughing. That's why they get nervous. They're afraid if anything gets them on their back, then they're not protected. So They have to snap and bite before anything gets too close to pose a danger. But snapping turtles, always been my favorite. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you keep coming back for future spotlights. And we're going to keep continuing talking reptiles. Thank you.